Death Stranding 2 is the kind of sequel that makes you question reality, your life choices, and whether Kojima actually had a plan or just threw every idea he had into a blender and yelled, "Genius!" This game costs $70, and for that price, you get a walking simulator filled with daddy issues, guitar solos, and more emotional confusion than a high school breakup. It's as if Kojima stared at the beautiful, poetic world he created in the first game and said, "Let's make this unhinged." Gone are the deep moments of quiet reflection. Now you're just dropped into a storm of plot twists that feel like they were pulled from a hat labeled weird and confusing. Remember the emotional depth of Sam and Lou? Forget it. Now Lou is Sam's biological daughter, and we're all just supposed to nod and say, "Yeah, that makes sense." Except it doesn't. It feels forced, lazy, and designed purely for shock value. It's like Kojima wanted to be edgy for the sake of it, like a teenager writing dark poetry in the back of a math class. Sam, who once had emotional layers and trauma you could feel in every step, now reacts to massive life-altering news like he just got told they're out of chicken nuggets. "She's my daughter." Oh, okay. That's it. That's the emotional climax. Fragile, the woman we thought had some deep connection to Sam, is now just an awkward presence. Their interactions have the chemistry of wet cardboard. Every time they're on screen together, it feels like the game is trying to convince us there's something meaningful between them, but there isn't. It's two people reading lines at each other. And then there's Higgs, Higgs. Once a terrifying philosophical villain, now reduced to a guitar hero reject. Yes, he fights with a guitar, a literal guitar. I half expected him to scream, "Free bird," before the boss battle started. He went from being the agent of extinction to the frontman of a sad metal band. And it's just so goofy that you can't even take him seriously. And the BTs, the mysterious, terrifying entities from the first game, they're now just floating decorations. Remember the tension when the Audritic started spinning and the heartbeat kicked in? That's all gone. Now BTs show up and you shrug. The beach, once this eerie, symbolic place between life and death, is just a sandbox for exposition dumps and nonsense. It used to be mysterious. Now it's just confusing. Everything is confusing. The game is obsessed with over-explaining the wrong things while avoiding the important stuff. It's like being stuck in a lecture from someone who doesn't know what they're talking about, but loves hearing themselves speak. Characters make decisions that don't make sense. Fragile lies to Sam. Apaz hires both Sam and Higgs, which is like hiring Batman and Joker to work on the same project. Deadman, who's supposed to care about Sam, just lets him get dragged into the same trauma again. And Sam just says yes to it all, like he's got nothing better to do. He buried his daughter and gets asked to reconnect Australia and just goes, "Yeah, sure, let me get my boots." No hesitation, no breakdown, just casual acceptance. The story has more holes than a fishing net, and trying to follow the logic behind the character's motivations is a full-time job.
Neil, the new character, is basically Cliff from the first game, but without any of the emotional punch. He goes from a random porter to an undead war veteran with magical weapons and an army of ghost soldiers, and we're just supposed to roll with it. His backstory is so vague and undercooked that you could remove him from the game and nothing would change. And then there's the whole Lou situation. Is she BB-28? Is she Tomorrow? Is she the new Extinction entity? Nobody knows. Not even the game seems to know. It feels like Kojima had 3 different stories planned and decided to mash them all together without editing any of them. Let's talk about the chiral network for a second. It was built by sacrificing 9 BBs. 9, that's not just dark, that's horrifying. And Sam just keeps using it like it's no big deal. Imagine if you found out your Wi-Fi was powered by baby souls. Would you still stream Netflix? Probably not. But Sam's fine with it. Just another day in the apocalypse. The emotional weight of these revelations is completely ignored. It's like the game is scared to deal with its own darkness, so it throws some techno jargon at you and moves on. The ending of the game is just as confusing and disappointing as everything else. After all the nonsense, you end up alone. Again, no Lou, no Fragile. Just Sam, Tarman, and Dollman walking across yet another empty map. It's the same trauma repeated with no growth. And maybe that's the point. Maybe Kojima is trying to say something deep about cycles of pain in the human condition. But it doesn't land. It just feels lazy. The themes are muddled. The message is unclear. It's all spectacle, no substance. Death Stranding 2 doesn't fail because it tries to be different. It fails because it doesn't understand what made the first game special. The original had emotion, subtlety, and a soul. This one is loud, messy, and desperate for attention. It throws big ideas at you without following through on any of them. It reuses plot points from the first game without adding anything new. It breaks characters just to force in drama. And it tries so hard to be shocking that it forgets to be meaningful. Even the moments that should hit emotionally, like Sam hallucinating Lou, are drowned in chaos. In the end, Death Stranding 2 feels like a joke that got out of hand. It's a parody of itself. A beautiful, high-budget mess that's somehow both too much and not enough. It's like Kojima dared himself to make the most Kojima game ever, and nobody stopped him. And yet, in the middle of all this madness, there's still something weirdly lovable about it. Maybe it's the ambition. Maybe it's the sheer absurdity. Maybe it's just Stockholm Syndrome. But even with all its flaws, you kind of can't look away. It's a train wreck. But it's Kojima string like. And that makes it special in its own bizarre, frustrating way. Just don't expect it to make sense, or be coherent, or satisfying. But do expect a guitar fight, because that's apparently the new normal now.